Let's talk about 5 fragrances that smell like Molecule 01. So Molecule 01 is this retail superstar cult classic that gets sold everywhere, and at a certain point was sold out on Lucky Scent. So this is a fragrance which is extremely well complemented. Men and women can wear it, extremely versatile, can be used as a base, can be used on its own. It is just a fragrance that does really well in all departments. As you know, Molecule 01 is a fragrance that has the singular note of ISO-E Super, and it smells like cedar. Now, people swear by this that they get tons of compliments, and if you look at reviews across the board, people will say that they overspray this fragrance and they can't smell themselves, but other people can smell them. Or that they can smell themselves, or in some instances that people get different types of scents from this fragrance. So I've worn this fragrance and someone said that it smells sweet like baked goods. In the same room, someone else said that it smells like woods. So this is just a very unique and versatile fragrance. Overall, Molecule 01 is a really nice fragrance, but you know, the market isn't defined by one fragrance. So what else is there in the market that smells similar or in the same wheelhouse to Molecule 01? And this got me thinking. So here are 5 fragrances that I recommend, which are what you might call an anti-perfume, and you could use it either on its own or as a base, and are very similar to Molecule 01 in the sense that they get lots of compliments. So here are 5 fragrances that are in a similar wheelhouse to Molecule 01. The first fragrance on our list comes from the house of Diptyque, and Diptyque is really famous for 2 fragrances, which are Tam Dao and Philosikos. Rightfully so, because these are great fragrances that represent the note of fig and sandalwood respectively. So this fragrance is really Diptyque's anti-perfume and anti-fragrance. And I say that because it's really a fragrance that it's not fleeting. It lasts a long time. However, it is a fragrance that it really doesn't capture anything besides the note of iris and ambroxan. So this fragrance has iris, musk, and a little bit of amberette. Whenever I've worn this fragrance, especially in the first couple of hours, and people have smelt me, people have just came to me and asked me, what am I wearing? I've never smelled anything like this before. It's not something that is usual, and it is really outside of the box. And that fragrance is Diptyque's Fleur de Peau. So literally, Fleur de Peau means flower of the skin. Figuratively, it means on edge or something which is highly sensitive. And I guess what Diptyque was going for when they launched this fragrance was a fragrance which you could wear as a base to all of their other fragrances, and also something which on its own really smells nice. And it has that note of iris and musk, and it's not very loud. It doesn't project in a massive fashion, but it has extremely good longevity. And so people will smell this throughout the entire day. And unlike Molecule 01, you can smell this as well. The main notes that I get from this is the iris, which is coupled with a little bit of sweetness. If you haven't checked Diptyque out, I would say that they have some really good, very interesting fragrances. But from their line, this is definitely one of my favorites, and this is Diptyque's Fleur de Peau. Okay, so the next fragrance is quite of an anomaly because it does have that, it says it right on the bottle. It's telling you that it is an anti-perfume, and this comes from the house of Juliette Has, and this is, believe it or not a perfume. This fragrance really depends on your body chemistry, but the main note in this fragrance is ambroxan. I think this is a really pleasant fragrance. Men and women can wear not a perfume. It's really that fragrance which doesn't smell like anything. If you know Dior Sauvage and that main note of ambroxan that's in there, and in many other shower gel fragrances, that is that note on its own. So this thing, even though it is very simple in its composition, this is a fragrance which I would say gets tons of compliments. So in a similar vein to Molecule 01, this also shares one singular note, and that note is of ambroxan. Usually used as a base, what Juliette Has done in this instance has taken it from a base and brought it to the forefront and has used it as its main note. So ambroxan, as you may know in other fragrances, it's very common. If you know Dior Sauvage, then that is the main note in Dior Sauvage. So on its own, Not a Perfume smells like an amazing perfume. It smells great. It gets lots of compliments. Most people, when they wear this, other people can smell them, and it's just a nice, pleasant fragrance, which I would say you could use around the year in any type of situation. And it's great for dates. It's great for the office. It's inoffensive. It's a fragrance which I would definitely recommend. So it's a fragrance which has this one note of ambroxan, and if you like that note, I would definitely recommend checking out Juliette Has Not a Perfume. Okay, so the next fragrance on our list is the concept is something which is very simple but is liked by most people, and that is the concept of fresh laundry. That fragrance is Clean's Warm Cotton. It smells like fresh laundry right out of the dryer. And it's very clean, it's very inoffensive. There's this element of warmth and comfort that's attached to this scent here, and you can use it with other scents as well, because it just has a very simple note of having the concept of cotton, or in this case the concept of linen or fresh linen. This is perfect for those non-perfume situations. So if you are going to either somewhere for maybe a job interview, or you're going for a meeting, or you're in the office and you have a meeting with a high level client or the CEO, and you want to smell nice but you don't want to smell overpowering, this would be the perfect fragrance for that. I mean, because of the base of this fragrance of being cotton, of being smelling like fresh linen, you could probably mix this fragrance with anything else out there and it would still smell nice. If you like the smell of Bounce or Febreze, I think this would be right up your alley. Sometimes you don't really need a fragrance which is very complex, which is multi-dimensional, and this is perfect because it fits into that category of being simple, but also being pleasant at the same time. This next fragrance comes to us from the house of Jenny Glow, which is out of the UK, and it is a fragrance house which is inspired by Jo Malone. Now, the only gripe that I have with Jo Malone is that even though they make amazing compositions, they don't last very long on my skin in particular. However, when I tried Jenny Glow, I found that their fragrances were quite good. Now, the fragrance that I would suggest that you try from Jenny Glow is Wood Sage and Sea Salt. So the main notes that I get from this fragrance is grapefruit and sage, and it's this very interesting combination of notes when you put them together that gives you this fragrance. This fragrance really is perfect for, like, let's say a wedding situation, or if you're just wanting to wear a white shirt. It's perfect for going out. It's very casual, it's very laid back, it's not too serious, and the best thing about this fragrance is that it's a fragrance that you could mix with other fragrances if you wanted to, but on its own it's still a very good and appealing fragrance. So this is it's a very simple fragrance that you can wear in any type of situation. So it's quite versatile and it doesn't take itself too seriously. So if you really like Wood Sage and Sea Salt from Jo Malone, but it doesn't really last on you that much, I recommend checking out Jenny Glow's version of Wood Sage and Sea Salt. You might find better luck with it. If you're enjoying this content, a sub would be amazing. So the last fragrance on this list is from a fragrance house which is very much an underdog, and it doesn't get spoken enough in the fragrance community. That house is the house of Clean Reserve. So this fragrance is from the house of Clean, and this is their, I would say, higher end line, which is called Clean Reserve. They have a ton of fragrances in this line, but this one in particular caught my attention. It's called Clean Reserve Skin. What I get from this fragrance is musk, praline, salt, and tonka bean in the dry down. Now you might be saying, okay, well, praline this might be a gourmand fragrance. Actually, I don't get any gourmand leniencies in this fragrance. This fragrance is really a fragrance which I think toes the line between something which is very airy and sweet, and it doesn't lean in either direction too much. So it is a fragrance which I think is very unique. I haven't smelled anything on the market which is similar to this. It's not very feminine. I would say this is a unisex fragrance, and it's a fragrance which I think you know, you can use it as a base, but preferably I like to use it on its own, just because it does have that quality of it's a very refreshing, very revitalizing fragrance. I usually wear this fragrance in situations where it's if I'm going out in the evening to a nice restaurant, or I'm going out to meet some friends. This is the perfect fragrance where, you know, you don't want to be overwhelming, you don't want to be offensive. It's a fragrance where it is quite versatile, and you could wear this in a multitude of situations. So if you haven't checked out this house or this fragrance, I highly recommend looking at the Clean House or the Clean Reserve line. You might find some hidden gems in there. If you've liked this content, a sub would be amazing. You can always unsubscribe later on. I also always want to hear what people are wearing in regards to fragrances maybe that you've come across that are very simple but you are extremely likable, fragrances that are maybe in the same wheelhouse as Molecule 01, or something that you thought was incredible and maybe it is a hidden gem. Please put it down in the comments below so we can all check it out. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.